Hey everyone, I'm S69, and welcome to Plotting and Scheming, covering Season 69, 5 versus 5 Grand Arena Championship, Week 3. I am joined by my regular co-hosts Dagger, TJ, Sasha Aisha, and Fatal. Gentlemen, great week, an end to a fantastic season. Spent a lot of it at rank 1, all of it in the top bracket. Was 2-0 in this week heading into the final round, and I was rank 1. And then I unfortunately lost that match to Herbert. I didn't have enough accrued rating to still be over him. So he did win that round. Technically, I finished that season rank 2, but going into it, I was rank 1. And that's why I have this on screen. So I'm taking a screenshot right now, put it on the fridge, Ma, because I've been hunting this one for years. Finishing a season at rank 1 as far as the prize box is concerned, and no one can take that away from me. So, that was my week. How about you, Dagger?
I fully expect you to come on here and just lead off with the you better watch who you're talking to, running your mouth like you know me. Man, I thought you were going to come out with some Nelly, some number 1.
Wow. You thought way wrong.
Yeah, dude. I thought you were going to have some class and be like, "Oh yeah, I'm number 1. Hell yeah, bitches."
Mm-hmm. Right.
No, you're just like you just came out like, limp wristed, like a little fish handshake, like, "I got the screenshot, guys, but I'll get it one day. I'll get the actual reward one day."
No. This is I'm still holding this on screen. This is my trophy. I was wanting this one. This is one I wanted.
But in all seriousness, congratulations, dude. Congratulations on the screenshot. It's hard earned. I just thought you'd come out with a little more bass in your voice about it, is what I'm saying.
I'm perfectly very happy about it. And yeah.
You should be, man. Congrats.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. No, I appreciate it. It's the first time
from everybody. Yeah, like this is real.
So did the title come through, by the way?
No, it says Kyber Combatant. They don't have it. So that's why I want this screenshot, because I promise you, right after our recording, I'm going to send a message to Meathead and make my petition. I will see what I can get.
Click on my profile.
Yeah, you were one of the only ones to get it, because Aesop doesn't have it, I don't think. Maybe Yoda doesn't have it, I don't think.
One day, maybe you'll be cool enough to be like Sasha, but not everybody can be.
What I'm saying is I think Sasha got grandfathered in at a certain point before they did away with the title.
What am I looking for on your profile?
Oh, it's in-game. It's in-game.
He's talking about the in-game title.
But you do have PKC, Premier Kyber Champion?
I put it on specifically to give you crap. Yes,
that's
I
right.
did.
Yeah, no worries.
I figured if either you or Arsenal were going to finish number 1 this week, and I had to give you guys crap, and so I put my title.
What he's saying without saying is, Tash, you're a bitch, and nanny boo boo.
Yeah, Nina, you can't touch this.
It makes sense.
But very politely.
I appreciate it. I leave it to my 2 friends to translate for me.
That's what he said. Yeah. Use a bitch. Nanny, boo boo.
Use a hoe.
No, honestly, Tess, that's fucking awesome, man. Congrats.
Yeah. Really appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Well earned. Maybe one day you'll beat Herbert.
Maybe one day, yeah, and all due credit to Herbert. He played a very good game that last round, so really like that. We fought twice that season. We fought in week 2, as we covered last week, and I lost because I bungled a fleet fight. So that one was in my hands. That one was the one I was meant to win. This one, he scouted me. He made some good rotations, and I had a couple things go bad for me while he was damn near flawless at an 1850. So yeah, credit given where credit's due, man. Guy really knows his stuff. But anyway, back on track. Dagger, how was your week?
Shit. I'd have to check my history, but I went either 1-2 or 2-1. I don't remember if I won my last round.
Fun times.
I didn't take this week all too seriously. I was going to take the week off, but one of your patrons, Striker, was right next to me, and tagged me about us matching up again. So I hit the join button. Mm-hmm. So I won my first round. He lost his first round. So I threw my second round, and he won. And then we didn't fight in the last round. And I don't recall what the final of the last round was. Nice. So I was trying to fight Striker, a friend of the show. Good guy, good player.
Yep. Absolutely. Featured him when I've had Erodium rounds many times. So That would have been a good match to cover. I appreciate you hunting that one. All right, TJ, how about you? How was your week?
Oh, it went poorly. Thanks for asking. No, I did a 1 and 2, but I lost by literally 1 point on the last round, and it was one choice of I took one wrong character and then missed it by 1 point on what I needed to work. So that's all said and done. Good. It was on. I should have taken one more character with higher damage, and because I didn't, it pushed me down points that I didn't want to push down, and then let it get to fleet, and then got a 74 instead of a 75. A tie would have won it, didn't. But the person I faced, Joy, super cool person, responded and was like, "Oh my god, I won!" I was like, "Yeah, man, it was good job." So I didn't get asked to die for cancer or my family to burn in hell. So it was good. It was a positive, and it was and they did a good job.
Fair enough, man. All right, Sasha Aisha. Now, before I ask you how your week was, back to him trolling me with his Premier Kyber Champion title. For those of you who are newer to the show, not only has Sasha finished a season back in the day with that title, but he and Aesop, I think, are the two longest running. He and Aesop Rock, two longest running players getting the most seasons finished at rank 1. So that's kind of the long-term thing, right? Is if I can finish a season...
I just want to subset. This was the only guy to only lose number 1 because he decided to stop playing the game. That's then came back and is still right back there. Literally nothing changed other than it's like, you guys can all play it too. It's
the board god decided to descend Olympus for a time.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like, it's cool, guys. I'll be gone for a year. Okay, I decided I'm gonna play again, and it's still right back in top 8 or whatever it's at.
That's
like
right.
Nothing
Just
changed.
Casually back in the top bracket, as one does. So, anyways, Sasha, how was the week?
I'm glad to relive past glory because there's not a lot of present. But no, it was fun. I was on vacation for a week, and so I kind of, as much as I do, kind of checked out a little bit. But last week I got back in the middle of the week and played the last couple of rounds pretty intense. I had a lot of fun. It was a 2-in-1 week. The overall season was kind of blah. In part because it was checkup, but also it was just good matches, and I don't think I got into the flow of the meta very effectively.
Yeah.
I have to admit, I had a lot of fun vicariously, like when I could, checking in on you, checking in on Arsenal, and so having a couple of friends that were right in the thick of it for tops in the season was a ton of fun, and tip of the hat to you, just as you just tipped your hat there. I seriously, Tass, was really psyched for you. So that was awesome. By far the highlight of my season was you finishing number 1, and the second is me getting to put Premier Kyber Champion on my in-game title when you don't get it. That's definitely close second.
Dude, the Nanny Danny Boo Boo fuck you is so good. It is awesome from a guy who's way too classy and will be the nicest guy you ever meet. So it's like that right there is all of fuck your hats and your hats are dumb tasks all in one shot with just the title.
Yeah, Sasha still has the longest concurrent streak at number 1 in this game's history.
I don't know. Aesop's got to be up there, but it's Cass, yours was measured in hours, so we got to get you back up there, buddy.
Oh yeah, well yeah, I was rank 1 and then lost it and then got it, and then lost it. So yeah, no, don't get me wrong. I'm going into that next 3v3 season. I'm gonna do my best. It's gonna be. Can I do it? Can I do it or do it again? Depending on how you want to rate it. But the idea is it was a good time. So I appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Fatal. Last but not least. Sorry for hogging up the airtime up until you here. Hopefully you haven't fallen asleep on us. But how was your week?
Yeah, pretty uneventful. I think I threw enough matches over the last few seasons losing on time that I'm kind of just over messing around now that I just started climbing again. I don't know, man. This meta is fun, but Jesus Christ, people need to start posting better defenses. Like I'm beating everyone with like a hand tied behind my back practically. I'm ending matches with like all the GLs that I held left over, Reva left over, Treya left over. Like why are you just posting a Grievous for me to Wampa? Why are you why are you posting Qui-Gon in 2025? I don't understand.
Yeah.
Why so many people refuse to use their teams anymore? Like, ironically, I am beginning to form a theory that this, how back in the day we played JML every day, and it was just like, yeah, of course I know how to play JML, and then over time people stopped having to play those matchups, and so nowadays, like, when the opportunity arises, like, hey, let's talk about JML versus Ray or whatever, and it's just like, man, nobody knows how to play that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that might be happening with heavy divas to some degree, because I'm not, like, my Leia doesn't even have any special sauce, but even just the sight of a Leia on defense, it just causes people to melt down. And it's not like Leia was racking holds all season, but I had like multiple matches where it was just like, hey, Leia on defense, 4 or 5 holds. I'm like, man, what?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I might just keep climbing, to be honest. I mean, it seems like the Rhodium situation isn't that bad. I'm not really in the mood to dick around anymore. The meta's pretty solid overall. Like, I might just get back to top ranks. We'll see.
I think that's a good call, because Sasha, correct me if I'm wrong here, I think we're 2 seasons in a row now.
Dude,
No
they
Rhodiums?
capped it.
Yeah, with a full group of 8.
We were talking about where it's at and what it is and looking at it. You guys in the top have officially passed what they would have for the Erodons looking at the threshold. Sasha was just outside of it. So if you go look at the numbers at the very top, you'll see, because it doesn't start until 11 to 16 or whatever it is, that ranking now, that's where the Erodiums start.
I see.
So you guys are officially above in points on the Erodium threshold.
So is that going to hold? Is that going to hold after the seasonal squish?
I don't know, but that's what we were seeing. I was seeing everybody started to kicks off, and then it was like Sasha was right there, and then you start seeing the Erodium cap. And if you go look at the numbers, it's pretty concurrent. That if it stays this way, then I would say if you're in the upper echelon, you will not see the Erodium anymore. It's bracketing down.
Number 8's an Erodium ring.
I do think Fatal. I do think you should climb. I got a chance to watch one of your streams when I was on vacation, and I remember it was late in your attack. Well, the beginning of your attack is late, so it was the late of your attack, and getting to see what you had left. And it reminded me of being a kid, and in kickball was like the elementary school sport where if you kicked it, like kind of like baseball, but like if you hit it far enough, you could not only run around and get a home run, but you could go twice. And I remember looking at what you had left, and I'm like, man, it is a shame that he can't just restart the board with what he has left and clear twice. Because I think you had that.
For extra banners. Yeah, that'd be fun. All right, well.
You just solved the board size problem, I think.
Yeah, where are you at?
Coming around again.
Fatal, where are you at in GAC these days? You said you were going to climb, but like, where are you starting this climb from?
I don't know where I'm up to now. I'm like somewhere around 4100 skill rating.
Okay, you're right there.
Okay, yeah, because and to what TJ said, it looks like looking back a couple of weeks, it looks like the Erodiums load in with like 43, 50 ish. So that means we have 9 people above that.
That's why I'm telling you, it's like the threshold for what you can do for Erodium is now being squished out. So as I said, the top bracket doesn't. If it stays this way, again to Tess's point,
it does look like Sasha and Aesop will get squished under that number.
Okay. I don't think so. I think if you look at the end of the week, I finished 4th, I think. So they don't update in game. You have to click into the profile to see.
Profile, right?
Oh yeah, I'm just looking at the ranking on. I'm just looking at the ranking in Kyber 1, and there's 3 people. It looks like that are at risk of when the squish happens, getting pushed down to theoretically where.
Unfortunately, Neo I think is one of them. Neo's been playing awesome, but
Neo, you, and Aesop. But looking at this, it may not be you 3 exactly.
No, I think you're right, Sasha. You're 4th. I think you're 4th because it's going to be her, Herbert, me, then Arsenal, I think. No, what is it? Herbert, Arsenal, then me. I think that's it. I think I'm third opening up the season, actually. We'll see.
But anyway, let's hope there's not more Rhodium that drop
it's
in
been
on
good.
top. Too.
It's been good without it. So, yeah, push on, Fatal. We'll see you soon.
Fingers crossed for my availability for 3v3 because school is starting.
Mm-hmm. That's true. It's true. It's back to school time. Coming soon.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get into the agenda, guys. Of course, we did this at the end of the last season as well. We're talking about the season in review. So, just reflecting on the whole thing. What did you enjoy? What did you like? What kind of change was brought in by this season's meta that stood out for you? Anything of the kind? I think for me, there was within the first 4 matches, so like the first week and then maybe the first round of the second week, I feel like we knew what the meta was going to be. And from there, like knowing how everything was best going to interact with another team to get the highest odds on a 65, which is a serious consideration because you are fighting at least one ultra efficiency opponent in the top bracket with Herbert there. So planning for that's going to be part of it. Like I want to say for people who were setting extra heavy against him, trying to trip him up, they lost. So anyway, thinking about that, making rotations for this last week was really fun. But for the whole season overall, I just liked how early the meta stood out to me, and then there were quite a few options for what to rotate. Defense did feel interesting. Like week 1, maybe week 2 had a bit more of BKM on defense. Then after talking with Fatal here in last week's episode, I gave it a shot. I was pretty much already there mod wise. I just needed to add a little more speed onto Grogu. Got him right up to about 350, and yeah, twice in the week, BKM versus Lord Vader was offered. The round 3, Lord Vader was on defense. But both the times I tried, one was against a high armor penetration Oppo Kron, and then the other one was a high defense CX2 Kron with the offense level 3, level 6, CX2 level 9. In either case, BKM got it done, I want to say for 65 and 64. Really good stuff.
Whoever needs to hear this, please, for the love of God, don't post BKM on defense. Even irregardless of the LV thing. It's just Lori food. You will take 0 turns.
Certainly, if you're not going to do something like the Jawa turn meter crown or a light side 25%, I don't think we have something that turbocharges Veers out ahead of that. But yeah, I actually did a Veers against a BKM set, and it was 64. So yeah, to your point.
A Jawa Kron making Sabine the fastest to do the AoE days is good enough.
Sure. Do you think 25% turn meters also a functional alternative, or what? Or are you able to just outrun that with the right Veers setup, Fatal?
You have to do the math. I don't know if 25%
have to be a lot. 25% is going to be a lot.
Sorry, I didn't know that was aimed at me. Wait, we're talking about what?
Talking about how to have BKM stand up on defense to Veers.
You don't post BKM. She's dog shit on defense.
I did get a couple holds in this season with it, but I did definitely appreciate it more on offense. To your point,
I appreciate you saying that she's dog shit on defense, but until people start beating it, it's hard to say it's dog shit on defense.
With the turn meter,
remember the conversation that I had a few minutes ago about people losing their skill set?
It's true.
No, look. What I'm saying is that you can be objectively right, and you can still post something that somebody is going to hail themselves against.
I do agree with this overall. I used to have a saying where I said the team that you post on defense doesn't have to be good; it just has to be better than your opponent. But like, if they're making mistakes like that, man, you should already be favored. I feel like.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Like, I watched somebody put their Jawa Kron on their bow, and somebody went to go trooper it, just like they troopered a different bow, got their shit dazed, and was like, "Ha."
Oh yeah, just don't trooper it. Just use Zori.
Right. Yeah. Look, I'm not. Again, The question was, can you lock out troopers? And I said the answer is yes, but that doesn't mean you can lock out all the other counters.
So here's a question for you then, though, Fatal. You're right, Troopers. I mean, Zori can steamroll it, but with the resistance crons out there, and this is maybe more prospective than this episode's supposed to be, but with the resistance crons out there, I wonder if you've even got like higher targets in aim.
So the reason why I diss Bo-Katan on defense isn't necessarily just Zarya related. Zarya is just the easy option to throw out as like demolishing them with 0 turns taken. I just don't understand. Like, Bo-Katan has 0 reactivity and 0 tank line. Like, there is just 0 Like, think of it this way: whatever your opponent chooses to use to attack BKM, they have total free reign to do whatever they want to whoever they want, and your only real hope is like maybe they misplay on Bam and like trigger birds twice or something. And so I'm like, I have a very hard time believing that BKM has defensive prospects more so than just like it's just a rake that people are somehow stepping on. Because I mean, we already know that like there are too many teams on offense for teams on defense, and you're telling me that like even if Zori is off the table, there's no. You can't just run like fair. EP Mara and just make them take 0 turns, or like maybe BKM will be last standing. But did you just whittle her out or do whatever? I don't know.
Well, it also depends because I know I had played against several people this season who tried things like Zori versus Ahsoka and things like that. So it's like, I'm not saying that it's not good on defense. I mean, like, I don't think it is particularly good on defense, but I had a fair amount of success just slapping it down with 400% defense and people just timing out or not being able to like chew through it.
Let me put it this way: I used Jedi Master Base Windu against someone who posted BKM against me, so that will be the litmus test for next season. Is this team beatable by Mace?
That's going to be a really shitty answer because there's a lot of teams that are beatable by Mace by that metric. But like we've also entered the realm where you can't really post Trey anymore either, Savage or whatever you want to phrase that. You can't really post that team either now. So I mean, we're gonna get to the point where we're gonna have to figure out what we can post.
We're gonna get to the point where people have to figure out which teams they think are worth using because they're benching a lot of pretty good squads so that they can post Grievous and Qui-Gon and then proceed to never use them on offense.
I just know that every time I use Bo on offense, I get 61 banners, and that's not good.
If you just stall the Bo-Katan Mass Assist on the last move, and you should be a 65. Are you using armor?
No.
Here's a 61 for me against the Apocron. I mean, it definitely did more damage to me than CX2, so we have that to look forward to. I want to say, whereas this was a 64. You see that? I was I don't even know who was missing it because you can see how close I was to a 65 against CX2 Kron.
Do you have the Omicron for Bam bonus turn?
I do. Yeah. I assume you're asking Dagger.
Yeah, I have all the Omicron.
Yeah, it should be like a pretty solid lock that like your last move is going to be Bo-Katan Mass Assist, everyone gets the full protection, and then you win the match.
Me, I don't know. In my fights, it doesn't line up quite that way because I'm using BKM to like curb stomp something kind of shitty, so they end up just stealing a bunch of banners.
Oh well, yeah, sure, but I just don't use BKM for those matches.
Yeah, but that's the point I was trying to make, is that I didn't find myself using BKM for high level attacks. I had JML for Lord Vader, which I felt was smoother. And then BKM just kind of fell by the wayside because it's like, what am I going to do? Like, beat an Afra for 58?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just had JML in defense, so BKM was the happy.
No, yeah, but that's all I was saying about, for me personally, a lot of it boils down to when I'm deciding what I'm placing on defense or what I'm saving for offense, it's what's going to get me like the good banner wins, right? Like again, not trying to push back on anything you're saying because you're right, people should be posting more. But it's like, at what point do you just say, all right, Bo's not a real team on my roster now, so let's rip all the mods off her because I don't use her on offense and I can't post her on defense.
I think the future is bright for her on offense. Like the meat's back on the menu, boys. Like as long as we have defense on the Kron, this isn't laughable. So enjoy it while it's in season, because I think when defense goes, this option against Lord Vader goes with it, regardless of what the meta looks like at the time. that a fair read, Fatal?
I disagree just because we're out of Oppo now. We are now into clone offense stacking is what I assume a lot of people will be doing. And defense is coinciding with clone offense stack. And then after that, that will just be gone, and it'll just be whatever. The reason why I'm saying no broadly is because I think the LV side has techable potential. In fact, I already did it once this week, and I only lost DCT. So yeah, no, I think that BCAM versus LV is something absolutely worth knowing and being prepared for and built for. I don't think it's necessarily contingent, right? Like the new Datacron set has protection, right? I think you could go from a high defense though to a high protection set, and as long as your mods are well built, like I don't think you'll feel too much difference there. But yeah, the concern to me will always be more so about how the LV side is built and the impact it has on you, rather than, for our side, we're just checking a checkbox of, do I have enough defense and or protection to not die eventually? But now that Oppo ramp is gone and CX clone ramp will be gone eventually, I imagine it will be real for the foreseeable neutral future.
Okay.
Yeah, to rewind slightly to your question, one of the things that I kind of learned or figured out this season was like, if you both full clear and like mostly one shot or whatever, almost every fight I had was like 10 banners. So like what I was saying a little bit earlier, it really boiled down to what can I get 65s with. And I think that's going to be more important going forward as some of the more power teams on defense lose their crons, as we start to move, because we're going to get another team, at least one more team, maybe two here in the next 5v5. I don't know when Hondo's releasing. Maybe Hondo will release next 5v5. Again, speculating ahead of time, but it's like the number of teams we have is going up, not down. So I think the number of 65. Again, we already know what the next Datacron set is. We don't really know exactly what the ramifications are going to be for the next set, but yeah, I feel like 65s are going to become more and more, especially as Ezra is now like a solved equation for the most part. I feel like this season specifically, people were not eating nearly as much shit on Ezra, at least in my area, my top 100 neck of the woods. I can't speak for like Kyber One or the community as a whole, but I couldn't just slam Ezra somewhere and be like, "Ha, you ate shit."
Yeah.
And now you have to guard against like great mothers because everybody jacked their shit up to the 340s, 350s.
Yep.
So yeah, we're just playing like the game is evolving and the meta is evolving, and yeah, I agree with Fatal's assessment though. You can't really post Bo. There's a lot of teams you really can't or shouldn't post. GG is at least generally a banner stealer. I mean, I didn't, to be clear, I didn't post it, but I definitely watch people get like 61s versus it, which is like kind of a W. But
fair.
I digress.
No, I appreciate that.
I just use Wampa with the defense crown, and I get a 68. Oh, that's pretty fun.
Yeah.
Nice. That's hilarious.
I watched somebody try to womp one of those, and they got the shit kicked out of them because of the riposte.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. Well, okay, doesn't the new Wampa Crown have like double bulk, 100% defense or something? I still might just use 400% defense crown for Wampa versus GG. Like, you don't need more damage, right? You don't, like, who the fuck cares? The numbers are crazy, but also I'd kind of rather use it elsewhere. But like, man, I already secured the win with 400% defense. Like,
yeah. Fair. All right. Well, TJ, how about to you then? We got Dagger's take. What for the season in review? What stood out for you? What did you like? What was memorable? And TJ's muted for the moment, so we'll circle back to him. How about?
No, I'm here, man.
Oh,
Sorry,
okay.
I was responding, but doing it in mute. It's like for the most part, dude, as bad as my season was, which is probably one of the worst seasons I had, I still agree. Mine was like what Sasha said. I think Sasha's point was I just never really caught up into the season. And so I played behind the 8 ball. So it's an on me thing, not on. I wouldn't call the season bad. I still enjoyed it. I still thought it was fun. There was things I got to do and having a lot of fun with, even with the losses. It didn't feel. I walked in pessimistic, but overall I was okay with it. It still was cool. It's cool watching your fights. Cool watching Fatal beat the shit out with something with a Wampa. All of these were fun things. I didn't have a bad time, even though I got my lunch handed to me this time.
I appreciate you. How about you, Sasha? What jumped out at you for the season? How do you feel about it overall?
Yeah, like mentioned, and as TJ said, I wasn't quite in the flow of it, but there were aspects of it that I enjoyed. It was a little unfortunate. There's that sort of cyclicality or almost seasonality to each of these seasons where you end up with, you start at the beginning of a season and there's a lot that's to be determined or figured out, and then by the end it ends up with most of the puzzles have been solved and it's about efficiency. And since I was sort of checking back in the later stage when it was more of an efficiency meta, I did not enjoy that as much. It felt much more sensitive about like a couple banners here, a couple banners there. Um, but I like the Datacron sets that are active. I think it's fun to have defense out there. The group that we've been playing in is one that's obviously very Datacron heavy. Everybody's a big spender, and so a lot of high defense stuff. And so I'm enjoying that being there. And I'm going to be curious to see how that translates when we have one set dusting that had armor pen. We have another set remaining that has defense, and we have a new set of Datacrons coming in that does not have armor pen. And I think that may have a surprisingly large impact in the meta and certain matchups. Because I look at a few things, whether it's like Bane or some other stuff that was crazy effective with very high armor pen, but without high armor pen, may be fairly mitigated by like these 400 or 300 something percent defenses. So I'm overall feel pretty good about it, but curious to see how it shifts. And then I'm also happy to be going into threes, not just because it's the new style, the format that I really enjoy, but because it's kind of fun to be in the something's new rather than most stuff is solved is too strong a word, but was a little more efficiency oriented.
Sure. Now let me ask you
Really
something.
quick, sorry. Did you feel so? To your point about armor pen, I felt like this season, maybe more so than past seasons, I felt like armor pen just did not scale well. Like I could have 300% armor pen or 250% armor pen against their 300% defense, and I still wasn't. Like armor pen just doesn't scale the same way defense does, right? Like your 250 armor pen is
It doesn't.
250. You know what I mean? I felt like I was losing that scaling, so I felt like I just started moving
Yeah.
counters around to just not rely on it.
I get your point, and you're right, Dagger. I mean, it doesn't scale in the same way, but just sort of on the margin, I did feel the impact of it. You take things like Gas versus Bad Batch 2, right? So the new Bad Batch, when that was set, and I'd have a gas squad, I needed a pretty high armor pen on my gas cron to get it to ramp sufficiently to not time out. And I know they're not going to have their Bad Batch crons anymore, but they will have high defense crons. And I worry about like that's an example of one. I did feel like, and this is anecdotal, but like, and watching a few Bane versus SLK or Bane versus LV, that the most impactful stat that I was seeing on Datacrons, with one exception, the most impactful stat I was seeing on Datacrons for Bane was the armor pen. Crit damage was big too, but armor pen seemed particularly big, especially if somebody had leaned heavily into a defense cron. And the one exception I had in there is like you throw a Wampa cron with Bane.
Yes.
And a Wampa cron is like, hey, everything under the sun. Congratulations, here's 100 offense, 150 armor pen. So you're right, it doesn't scale the same, but we were kind of on the margins and approaching like, hey, this is going to take me 4 minutes and 45 seconds, but if I didn't have armor pen, this is a 6-minute fight and I lose.
And
That's fair. I just ended up not trying those fights because I just didn't feel like 200, 250% armor pen was sufficient enough against like the 400% defense, 350%
I think
defense.
you're probably right about that because I a couple things come to mind. You know, given what Fatal said about being successful using the defense set 22 with Wampa, I truly do think that now that my high armor penetration cron for Bane is gone, I think Wampa's just going to that because, yes, I found that pretty much only for Bane was armor penetration just a huge factor. I used the Oppo with Bane successfully against Lord Vader's with Oppo, with CX2 Cron. Didn't matter. It was 318% armor penetration, 26% health, uh, Dark Side buffs level 3, so I had the added health up, stuff like that. But that one was able to crush any Lord Vader, and I had heard from other people and gotten feedback. Other folks tried to imitate that with less than 300% armor penetration and did not have success. But yes,
So-
as far as the future using Bane, like just look at this last round for me. So I decided to rotate my Apocron onto Lord Vader because it looked like it could potentially strip more banners off of JML, which was Herbert's preferred clear for Lord Vader. So I took this higher defense, set 22, still with about 28% offense and 34% crit damage, stacking offense level 3. Thought I'd be in a good position going against this Sir Malikos team. And honestly, after 2 full rotations of Bane's cooldowns, we hadn't killed anybody. I don't even think we dented into the health on anybody. So,
Yeah,
yes.
And that was the match, right?
I don't think
there
that's
for
an
you,
armor
Well,
unfortunately.
that was the match against Herbert going with
Yeah.
this. And
Yeah,
to
but
be
no,
fair,
I
I didn't have like a max statted out Wampacron. I did have it. I could have used, I want to say, the level 5 one that I had. Sorry, what's that there?
I watched that fight. That was not an armor pen problem. Armor pen was you took like 10% of their health and protection off. Like
Yeah,
if you
I
had
hit like a
500%
wee little
armor pen,
baby,
you
and I gotta
still-
tell you, I think I would have felt better attempting it with armor penetration. You may be right that it might not have ended so terribly differently because
I'm just
this.
saying you weren't doing any. Go back and watch the fight. You didn't
Yeah.
do any damage with your abilities anyway. So like armor pen wasn't gonna make your like 30k into 200k.
Like I said, it's my gut feeling after however many seasons we've been playing with Bane that the thing he needs most to be most effective is armor penetration. If the fight's not meant to go like really long, like if you're taking on a matchup where you know you need to rely on the health scaling, fine, whatever. Like Fatal's been doing the Bane Malik versus Slacker this season with the Zalbarkron, having both health and defense on it. Okay, fine for that scenario. But if you're trying to put something down, which is what I've been doing pretty well with him otherwise, the armor penetration feels pretty determinate. Now, sorry, what was that, Dagger?
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I armor pen and crit damage are things I focus on when I'm using him, especially in like shorter fights. But I'm saying that fight right there, I don't think you were ever going to win.
Yeah, I mean, if we'll never know. The next time, if I had to do this again next season the same way, I would take it on with the Wampacron and see how I do. Now, granted, it is only 150% armor penetration, but the rest of these offensive stats.
Maybe with Malik, because that way you could actually like fear them.
Yes,
but yeah,
I think that's a good
your
call.
staff died so fast, and then Maul just did his pushes, and you were just
Yeah,
like,
he did his thing. Right, this 100% offense did me no favors. That was not going to pan out. So really, really determinant fight, not having that armor penetration.
Oh no, I'm saying that I just think that fight is like, if that Wampacron's there, just like LOL no.
Yeah. If we're not going to say that the armor pen would have won me this fight, I can tell you that the defense for damn sure wasn't. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, no, appreciate you, Sasha. Thanks for taking us down that path, particularly about armor penetration. Sorry?
Yeah, go Fatal.
On this topic.
Please, Fatal. Yeah, go ahead, jump in.
Okay. The conversation that we just had is very vibes based, but for a long time now, I've spoken with a lot of people who made actual calculators to know like what armor pen versus crit damage achieves. So there's a few moving parts here. Bane has a pretty decent armor pen value at 345. He's a strength attacker. Strength attackers have armor pen mastery. That doesn't necessarily mean that they will have good armor pen. A lot of the latest releasing strength attackers actually don't. But in Bane's case, he has 345. That's pretty okay. Dagger's original statement is just true. Defense and defense crons apply to their defense pool, which is typically these days on like the high triple digits to I don't know if anyone has a base 1,000 like Quagold does, but like it's an extremely high number.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Most characters have abysmal armor pen. Like I don't remember if I did this 100% correctly, but like, I tend to get tanks to around like 82% armor these days. I did a quick conversion that seems to be like 2,900 points of armor. And then you take a character like Bane who has 345 armor pen baseline versus like almost 3,000 points. You apply a 30% or a 300% defense to one pool, that's going to be a way bigger difference than a 30% to Bane's 345. I'm technically saying that wrong because I shouldn't be adding the mods. It should just be the base. But either way, like the point is, whether it's Bane on strength attacker at 345 or a lot of average characters only have 180, the thing you need to know is defense does not operate even remotely close to the same values as armor pen. Defense just does way the fuck better. Like, for example, recently, I was trying to figure out, like, okay, well, if I'm trying to do Bad Batch versus LV in Grand Arena to get ready for a Scorch on the Kron, should I do armor pen or crit damage on the Kron? And someone ran it through a calculator, and it was like, yeah, even though Bad Batch has infinite crit damage, it's still better to just add more points of crit damage because
the
Crosshair only has like
always the answer to armor pen versus crit damage is almost always just more crit damage.
Yeah,
because armor pen just does not scale well at all.
I see a lot of players who are just like, okay, they've got 300% defense, I got my 300% armor pen, I'm set. And it's like, I mean, it's not gonna hurt you to bring it, but it's just not, the numbers just aren't remotely on the same scale that, like, at the end of the day, whether you're bringing armor pen or crit damage, you are just hoping that it moves the needle enough to get you back in range. But yeah, no. So when you see, like, I mean, we're talking about this a lot with FDCs lately.
Sure.
You'll see, like, boom, 100% crit damage, boom, 100% offense, boom, 100% armor pen. That 100% armor pen, it's nothing. Like, obviously it's a small increase, but like,
it's a throwaway stat.
Yeah, people see the 100, and they're like, oh my god, that's 300, and it's like, it's 210.
Armor pen is really good when there isn't defense on Krons because it lets teams punch up better. When there is defense on Krons, that's still technically true, but your punch ups are like way lower. Right? Like when defense is on Krons, like armor pen doesn't do a whole lot to mitigate the defense, but when there is no defense on Krons, we just came out of, like, whenever we see armor pen without defense, you're seeing like these cheesier teams just crushing because they didn't need much of a gap to like get over a hump, like what Fatal was saying, where you're just trying to get into the area where you can actually get the kills. Whereas like when defense is there, it just doesn't really do anything, which is why, like I said a little bit earlier, when you said you were with armor pen, I said on my Bane Cron had crit damage because I felt that after week 1 I was using armor pen and it didn't feel like he was doing anything, so I switched over to crit damage and it immediately felt better. And granted, that's anecdotal.
Sure, yeah. I mean, I'm talking about my experience as well, so that's all fair. That's fair.
Yeah, but I do know that whenever there's huge defense Krons, I rotate teams because there's no amount of armor pen or crit damage that is going to make my shitty team beat your good team.
Okay. So, it's interesting. I do use a calculator for all of these. I just built a spreadsheet calculator for a couple of years ago, moving between flat defense percent, armor pen, and being able to calculate the effective defensive percentage out of these. And what's interesting is it's kind of a sensitivity analysis. It's when it hits an extraordinarily high level of defense. For example, if it reaches, let's just say physical defense, it reaches 90% defense. The flat defense translation, this is getting maybe a little too much into detail, but what that comes out to, assuming the game is still at level 85 for characters, is 5,738 flat defense. Based on that base armor pen, like you mentioned, Fatal, it's like, a character hitting 400 armor pen is extremely high. That's a top decile, right? Like you take a look at like Smee, and that's in the top quartile. So you're not going to get all the way up there. If you were in that hypothetical to take a character, let's just say, that has 300 base armor pen, give them 400% armor pen, taking them to 1,200 total armor pen as a flat stat, the mitigation or the change in defense would be from 90% of somebody, a defender at 90% has flat defense of 5738. It takes it just down from 90% with 1200 armor pen, takes it down to 87.7. Not a huge, right? Still, now that may seem small. I agree, and that's small.
Fucking
However,
nothing.
it's still not nothing. Now, the thing to though remember, assuming that you are not using true damage or insta kills as any part of it, that's still a 23.3 increase in the amount of damage that's being done to you. Right? It's going from 10% to 12.3. So it's all relative. However, the bigger difference that you start to see. One step.
Is that better or worse than 25% crit damage, which is 25% more damage out?
No, 25% crit damage is not 25% more damage. You're already at a base of 150 crit damage, so a 25% is reduced by 15. It's actually less. It's more damage than 25% crit damage. Now the difference, though.
What would the equivalent crit damage on a cron be? You're talking about 400% armor pen gives you a 20 rounded up to a 24% damage increase. What is that?
It completely depends, but this is my core point though here, Dagger, is it's almost like a sensitivity analysis in that it doesn't apply the same at all natures of defense. If you take a character that is not a tank and let's just say a heavily let's just say an attacker that has a 400% defense cron applied, their effective defense, it's reasonable to say it could get up to 80%. That's very high, right? Like I had mentioned, I had modded my SME with 4 offense and 2 defense mods and had taken him up to 76.2%. Let's say hypothetically he was up at 80%. That translates to a 2550 flat defense. In that case, if you were to take a 1200 armor pen, same scenario, same attacker, except against an 80% effective defense, it reduces the 80% all the way down to 67.9% effective defense. And that's actually a surprisingly decent amount. You go from, something that was going to do 20K worth of damage is now going to be doing more than 50% more than that, right? Because it's doing 32.1. So it's doing, let's say 55% more. So you start seeing there's this, it makes a big, it doesn't help as much against tanks, which is the frustrating part. But if they don't have anybody that's hitting over 90% or like at the extreme high end, it actually starts to make a relative difference. I know this is maybe not super helpful, but anyway, I spent a bunch of time on this, and I do think that there are certain sweet spots where armor pen has high impact.
I don't think armor pen is bad. What I was saying before, when we don't have defense featured on a cron set, armor pen is devastating. Right. Like it is, right. And I think a lot of the times we assume it's that good. Like, and again, I'm talking about the 400% defense crons that you're seeing, where I'm just like,
yeah.
Right. Like I agree with everything you just said. I was mostly just trying to figure out if there was like a conversion to try and figure out if crit damage could be like, if there was a better EV for like crit damage or something like that. That's mainly why I was asking that question, is because I feel like crit damage comes in bigger numbers, better numbers, more consistent numbers on Datacrons than armor pen does. So if you could try to do some push pull there to try to figure out what numbers to try to shoot for, but no, I that's really cool to know. Especially once the total number gets lower, the delta of the reduction in armor is higher.
It does all come back to Fatal's like first point, which is very true, in that all of this is kind of conditioned on a reasonable amount of base armor pen on the character, because the multiplier of that 400%, if you do it with like who's a good, like I think Ben Solo is a great example. He's a special. Yeah, I mean there are tons of them that have like 100 armor pen, and it's like, don't stack multipliers against 100 armor pen, because it's slightly bigger drops in a bucket.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, well, that was a long and winding road down that exploration. So in the end, it looks like crit damage is, if you had to take it over armor penetration, or if you had to compare it to armor penetration, where high defense occurs, it seems like with very few, if any, exceptions, it would seem that crit damage would be better. I think that's your takeaway from that, Sasha?
Yeah, I think it's fair with extremely high defense, and depending upon the base armor pen of your attacker. That's really the key, because there are quite a few where it's just a losing proposition out of the gate.
Sure. All right. Appreciate that. And can you believe it? All of that still brings us right back to Fatal to ask, what's your season overview? What did you enjoy? What stood out?
I enjoyed my defense plan overall. Just some fun, super unconventional teams. PKM versus LV was fun to test. It was a fun season overall, even though I think the competition has kind of lost the plot a little bit. But that's not for me to point about. Ultimately, I guess I know I've said it before. It continues to bother me that I am winning matches that I could have lost if they just played the video game. But whatever. And
Yeah.
you want to bench those teams that would have beat me? Go with God, man. You're right. You shouldn't use your top B tier teams.
Fear is a real thing.
Yeah. Hopefully things will phase out, or at the very least, I know I said this months ago, but I never actually followed through. I just need to start terrorizing people. Like, look, man, you show me a 2018 team, I'm just gonna I guess I was doing with Wampa to some degree. Is like, yeah, okay, pay the fucking banners. Stop showing me this shit.
Yeah, fair. All right, guys. Next item. I mean, this is going to be kind of a combination because we covered a lot of what we would normally discuss in meta-analysis and best attack and defense, but I think we'll just kind of have an amalgam of that. I didn't really have, as far as meta-analysis goes, new things that I fought. Nah. Any of these Riva Starkiller teams, it doesn't matter what the other three are. Balaam was the answer. It seems that they have a preference for going after Marok. So in both of the occasions where this ended up being a 65, he got taken down into DI and, just judiciously calling him to assist with Shin or with Hondo allows him to health steal and stabilize. And that was how we ended up making that work. We'll be missing the Zalbarkron. This definitely did a lot. The debuff expiration passive here, stacking up Hondo. Hondo was a beast in a couple of these fights later on, so really enjoyed that fight. Let's see, yeah, this Bane versus Seer was unfortunate. So if you, just a quick question to you then, Fatal. If you had to attempt this fight yourself, seeing that he had this composition with a Wampakron here, those stats and all, you would probably still have, in that situation, rocked your, if you were going to be using Bane, you would have rocked your Zalbarkron. Just go health defense on it.
We're talking for a Seer Malikos?
For the Seer Malikos team here on screen, yeah.
Wampakron. With Wampakron.
Yeah, with the Wampakron equipped to it, yes.
I have never used Bane against that squad. I don't know. I think I just usually use shit like I want to say Grievous. Grievous is what's coming to mind.
Really?
I know back in the day there was a glitch where it wasn't really a glitch. It was just a feedback loop where Malikos killed himself immediately for fighting Grievous.
Okay. I'd be interested in seeing that, but yeah. Well, that one I'll be thinking about and stewing on because I'm sure I'll be seeing that when I fight him again soon.
I don't know. I haven't seen a Seer poster in forever, and I'm like the only person I know who's posting Seer. And
yeah,
I'm sure that like shit like Gungans and there's probably plenty of options.
Gungans could work. Yeah, I would have had to rotated something. I was happy to say though that right after it, I mean, assuming that Bane was out of the way, it's tough to really find good uses for Jabba for high banners this season. I've seen a few players struggle to do it. They've managed to use them, get a one shot, but sometimes for under 60 banners, and you don't want to be there in this meta. By the way, guys, I think everything I'm hearing from you for the season wrap up, it feels like we're very much in efficiency meta territory, which is going to be interesting for 3 versus 3 because that's only stressful on people when they don't have a big roster, and none of us are dealing with people who are lacking. So we'll see.
Yeah. Whenever you see Herbert, Neo, and Zid all top 10, yeah.
That's fair.
I don't have to say it. We can all draw the conclusion.
Their play style favors the current meta. That's all right that they rise. But yeah, that's really about it for me. I mean,
no shade at all. I'm just saying, like, when defense is huge, those players, they drop down to the 8 to 12 range sometimes.
Fair.
Yeah. Right now they are. The world is their oyster, and they're hanging 1850s on task.
Well, in the spirit of this combined, meta-analysis and best attack and defense type thing, I've got you on screen, Dagger. What do you want to talk about from the meta in this week, or any interesting matches you saw?
So round 2, I did a couple of things against Pirates. So don't let the what was it? I think it was OXO. Don't let the me backing out fool you. Both of these teams won.
Oh, good to know. So both DTMG and Veers were dunks for you.
Yeah.
So that when
not dunks, but I killed kicks, and the DTMG team I killed kicks and it was in good position, so I backed out. And then the Trooper team I killed kicks and then Smee.
Well, what's especially important is, had you played both these out, you were confident 64-65?
Oh, I don't know about the Troopers, yes. I don't know about DTMG.
Okay, see, that's good to know then. So that's really valuable intel. Yeah, okay. All right, Veer's coming back into vogue. What times are we in?
I have no idea.
When people post bad teams start winning, so.
It indeed is bad, yeah. I mean, I'm glad to know that something like Veers would still be a 65, because I was just stomping Athanos of any stripe with Reva. So
bear in mind, I took the pre-taunt to eat the Hondo.
Mm-hmm.
I took Inshore because eat the Hondo.
That makes sense, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But that's what I said. Don't let these two fool you. I basically, it was like, can I kill kicks? Okay, good. The rest of the team is just not.
Good intel. I like that.
Yeah.
Anything else you wanted to cover here?
No, I didn't really do anything fancy this week. You can go look through the rest of my shit. It's mostly just overkilling stuff.
Sure.
But yeah, this is the first time I saw the kicks cron, so I wanted to make sure I got a few attacks in on it. And this was round 2 because Striker had lost round 1.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just like, you know what? Winning isn't the priority here. I want a little experience against this team, because the next time this comes around, this team's going to be way nastier. People are going to have better mods. More people are going to have it. So get a little bit of and you can see this is the underneath that is the Great Mothers that I won, where Ezra was faster.
Tell us about that. How did that one go? So, I mean, obviously it's not a turn meter cron, but like you said, Ezra was faster than who? Both of them?
Yeah, and he didn't stun. He didn't crit 3 times, only crit twice. He didn't stun Morgan, and I won.
Okay, so you gambled and you won. All right. Yeah. All right.
It's hard to win. Like, his crit chance is pretty high, but like crit avoidance exists.
It's true. It is true. And it's very valuable on her.
I feel like this, and the point I'm trying to make is, I feel like crit avoidance is on this set, by the way, I think, right?
Yes, this new set 23.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Put yourself 50% crit avoidance. He ain't critting 3 times. They ain't ability blocking your Morgan. This works against every Ahsoka.
Oh, it's a good observation. A lot of people are sweating it because we've got 25% turn meter now on this new set as well. So what do you think then? If this was a 25% turn meter set 23 of any stripe, do you think that would complicate this?
I think if Syndulla gets to fracture your Morgan, that's probably TKO. So I don't know about 25% TM. Like, I'm just chuckling at that notion of, like, I don't think you can come back from getting your.
Okay, good to know. Good, glad we got that clear.
I target her first. I kill. My kill order is Syndulla, Huyang, Sabine, Ezra, and then you kill Ahsoka.
Sounds good. All right, appreciate that. On to you, TJ. What do you want to cover? What was your what meta matchups?
Oh, they got
and favorite
mine got
attacks
updated. My data did get updated finally, so I do have all 3. Basically, what I had a lot of fun with was, 1, getting to emulate against Executrix and Fleet, but more than that,
Take me.
Four
Where
manning.
are we going to? Take me somewhere.
Oh, it doesn't matter. All weekend, what I've been doing is being able to four-man all of the glads. So all of the Ahsokas were getting four-man for 66 was so much fun. Didn't matter the setup. You just get to go 66 for free. But again,
go look at the stats for three manning that, by the way.
I saw it and I'm like, I don't want to risk it, but it was asked about, right? So Tass did ask me, he's like, do you really think you might have been doing this? Maybe, but I don't want to risk it all. Why get more greedy when I'm getting a 66 on Ezra is my thought. It's not Ahsoka. It's getting a free 66 on Ezra is what felt good. I know we talked about Ezra being solved, but all forms, you put the Heracron in there, cool, 66. And then if you go to my round 3, we're talking to Shake during it. I'm like, I still did with GMY, and the answer still ended to be the same, which was nice.
Oh, okay, yes. I see that. All right, so the debuffs were not, critical from Echo.
He's a nice little add-on. There is room if you're properly set modding wise to do a 3-man. I could, but why? When you're getting your 66, why do I need to move to a 67? Is my point of trying to do it. But
I mean, no, in a meta that's mostly demanding 65s, pulling out a 67 would be big
just
up.
as much as the 66.
So I'm just pointing out for next season when it actually gets into like the efficiency meta we expect it to be. That's allowed.
Yeah, but I mean, at that point, yes. But then it's like, I like Fatal's idea better because he went and did. I watched him do resistance, and I was studying, and I was like, I might be having to do resistance against the Ahsoka. And it felt good with the opportunity to go there, but then we just come back, and I'm like, yeah, I don't have to worry about it. I'm just going to get my 66, and it felt good that all forms and facets. I don't care what you put, the support will take it down. That was my fun point.
Okay. Any other ones you wanted to highlight?
Just a shout out for you and the Executrix, and then watching your prof fight, and then going and doing it better than you. But I only guess I got it better. I pulled a 74, so against round 2, and then it was the prof versus the Executrix. A couple extra steps, but it was like getting a 74.
Yep,
nice. Really good, right? That's all things worked in line. I still got to do it for a 71 the next round, but that was cool. Getting a 74 on a fleet that's been giving me some struggles was nice.
Dig that. Glad to hear it. All right, on to you, Sasha. Your meta matchups from this week that you want to highlight, or favorite attacks and defenses.
The attack actually that I thought was most noteworthy was a loss. Actually, I was super excited to see what Rolo would do on offense, and I took what I assumed was going to be an overkill. It was in round 3, I want to say. Maybe it's round 2. I think it's round 3. I took BKM with the Rolocron. BKM, I mean, a lot of buffs there. The two that I liked using with the Rolocron were either New Bad Batch or BKM. And I took it against that Balin squad and assumed I would steamroll. Balin, you can see it's got the SOJ and Fennec on it. And what's fascinating is I didn't get to move for the first 2 minutes. And by the time I did move, my DCAM was dead. And I was able to get, as you can see, Balin out. And Chin died kind of last moment, but it was just an impressive performance by the Balin squad. Just persistent stuns had me locked down on a battle that I figured out of everything. But I looked at that board, like I said, I was kind of catching up on the meta a little in that match. But I had assumed everything was a lock in, and if anything, I thought that was an overkill. So that was kind of cool to see. Not cool to experience in the moment, but
sure.
Cool
Good lesson to learn, though. Yeah.
And then I'll validate a comment by Fatal earlier. I again liking either New Bad Batch or BKM with the Rolocron. I think I said each of them once in the other 2 matches with the Rolocron on D, but it was against Aesop in round 2. He and I were chatting, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, how did BKM with the Rolocron go?" And he said, "Well, I troopered it." And so that was very predictable. I was otherwise going to try and set them with the I think it's now the Mandalorian 3 turns of retribution. Not that would have stopped. I don't think that stops Invincior. Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, that was more just sort of validating an earlier point from the show from Fatal. So that was it. That was it. But it was it was leaning back into it for me, so that was kind of cool.
Oh, I appreciate that. Good stuff. All right, Fatal, how about you? Meta matchup highlights for you, favorite attack and defense. What stood out?
Honestly, I would just say go to defense tab for all 3 rounds. Just like scroll. It's
Yeah,
stay the fuck away
Gungan's
from offense.
see, a lot of people swear that this has been just doing so well by them. Incredible. What do you think about Ahsoka made this stick out for the timeout?
Yeah, that was actually something I had theory crafted like almost a year, no more than a year ago at this point for other purposes. It just happened to have tripped the rake and caught them here. My Fulcrum, aka Bulcrum, is just finely tuned to fuck people up because Seer Lead has a regen clause specifically designed for Fulcrum, and so
How do you
cool.
exploit that? What's her mod setup?
I would have to go back and check. Also, just to be sure, I believe this is week 2. Are we doing both?
Oh, am I? Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah.
Everything we're talking about is true, but I was doing some weird
fine. Yeah, Sith Eternal, that makes sense. This is sometimes dubious. Interesting, though. So let's think about this. There's no tank, so you would have the discretion to link Rey and Terran Malicos and still dropped convincingly. So,
yeah.
Wow.
It's a hybrid of some shit I put together for Stick Raycron as well as Vertigo had put together the sort of engine of JTR plus Maul, because Maul's Anguish self debuffs, which gives JTR a TM preload. And so JTR I'm less convinced on. I think it could default to going back to crew for the exact reasons you just mentioned of I'm definitely concerned about handshaking C-Link. I'm a little bit are you able to check the defense attacker? I'm assuming that's defense.
I'm sorry, their Kron?
Yeah,
they had a Cosmic Plunder new set. They had the Scav Ray Kron on. They had
that's me.
Oh, duh.
I'm saying check the C's.
Check the C's Kron. Yeah, 200% defense, bit of protection, crit chance, 47% crit damage. Whenever dark side allies are damaged by percent health effects, recover 2% health.
222% defense is not shabby, but I guess could be higher. But yeah, just trying to risk assess. Crew for the taunt would force them to choose between links. And ironically, for reasons we just mentioned, I do like Fulcrum in that slot in some cases. JTR was just the idea of the double down and kind of reactive as well.
So are you able to share, or is this secret sauce about how you've got this set up here for Rey? How are you intending to maximize Rey during the lifetime of this Scav Ray Kron?
Oh, she's just fast at a bunch of damage. Just hit hard, move fast.
Also, JTR calls resistance allies, so she's hard. She calls Stick Ray and then gives Stick Ray foresight.
Yes. So exactly. JTR is doing 2 things here. JTR gives Maul TM preload for Frenzy, as well as is a guaranteed tutor for a Stick Ray assist call. So she's kind of cute. I don't know if she's slot efficient, especially because Seer already is kind of not slot efficient, but kind of mandatory. That I don't know if JTR will stick around. It's entirely possible that I'll either go back to Fulcrum or Crew, but she was just kind of a running experiment for this week. Right above you will see that I held to a BKM with LV.
Did see that, yeah, and see they didn't run. They didn't run defense into Giga armor penetration. Not even Giga armor penetration, just really high survivability. And combined with your bulk here, I imagine that was the kibosh.
Triple health set, full bulk primaries on DCT and CX2, and then they obviously aren't built correctly. They didn't have light side bulk. They didn't have any sort of survivability stats, and they were running armor. So I'm not claiming that this is like, foolproof that you can fully tech. But only losing DCT, I think, is like a pretty solid indicator that you look at the duration. So we expect that the BKM team gets creamed eventually, but they still lasted for 2 minutes and 45 seconds. That means that they probably got a second set of birds off, unless they misplayed. So I do think that kind of like Bounty Hunters versus LV back in the day, this might just be the new game of cat and mouse, where okay, this side adapts this. Okay, we're gonna counteract with that. Okay, and then they are trying this now. Okay, we gotta move to block with that. Yeah, my Bad Batch split was very, very weird, but Bad Batch on defense did get some holds. I feel extremely goofy about this because I ended up with Bad Batch on defense on all 3 weeks, and the setup that they had going into lock was never the setup for what I ended up using them for. I had them first 2 weeks debudgeted on offense, and then posted them on defense and wanted the budget higher, and then budgeted them higher, but then decided post lock that I was going to give them assist cron on defense, and gave them Wrecker, OG Wrecker, who was not on the plan. But yeah, no, they got holds in some rounds. They like held against Malgus, which was cool. They did get beaten by a gas once, but not entirely sure what or why. But then they held to a gas later, so.
Does old Omega get like offense for target practice stacks? Is that what it is?
Does who?
Old like baby Omega. What's her? She has an interaction with target practice, but what is it? Offense or what is it? Like, what is her interaction with?
I don't think it's target practice specifically. She just gains stacking offense whenever she has buffs, but honestly, she's just there because she's the best Bad Batch fish. Her assists are both better for getting the train started and then keeping the train going normally. Honestly, the assist crown probably makes her less special just because everyone assists now, but I'm not running Batcher. If you want to see why not run Batcher, DM me and I will send you a clip.
Yeah. So every stack of target practice is 5% crit chance and offense and 10% crit damage.
Yeah, but then also I'm saying in her kit she also has like on her unique is like per stack of.
Yeah, I'm saying it's. Yeah, I'm saying that she gets additional. Is that the target practice actually does for the rest of the Bad Batch?
Hold on, I'll pull it up on screen, guys.
Yeah, I don't know these new kits that well.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Yeah,
target practice gives 10%. I think it's 10% crit damage, 5% offense, 5% crit chance.
That's just the text line for target practice.
Yes.
Okay.
So you have 50 target practice, you have 500 crit damage, 250% offense, 250% crit chance. But then on top of that, OG Omega's unique says Omega's attacks deal 5% more damage for each buff she has and 5% more damage for each debuff the enemy has.
Yeah.
Dig that. Yeah, so slapping. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I was just trying to piece together the Omega choice. But yeah, that tracks. I mean,
if we want to zoom out real quick and not spend too much time on this, she assists any move on the start, which means that anybody can go first to prime someone for target practice.
Mm-hmm.
But then every time that you push any future button, she assists, which gives you more target practice, which gives Crosshair 15% TM per turn. She is just far and away the best fifth for a high investment Bad Batch squad. Okay. Like, honestly, the best I can tell you is just like try her in Conquest and then try Batcher in Conquest. And like, Sector 4 treasure node where
feel the difference.
Feel the difference.
Yeah, after the Batchercron is gone, Batcher does feel very well.
Mm-hmm.
He also felt bad before.
How do you have her set up? Probably crit damage triangle, but is it offense set, crit damage set, probably defense 2-piece? What are the particulars?
Crit damage triangle, 3 bulk primary, crit damage set, defense set. Yeah, it's Bad Batch, and honestly, just a lot of teams lately. There has been so much ping pong between health and protection because the thing to know for all of the new Bad Batch members is that their base protection is just way higher, and then Hunter as well gives you a 50% protection boost. But I feel like we are entering an era of the game where health is being emphasized more and more and protection is being negated more and more, that it is tough, man. It's tricky. Like, actually, for some of the holds that you showed on screen, like the Amidala is a especially easy case. I haven't actually talked about this anywhere yet. I feel like we're entering a new market of the game where I think she held like round 1, round 3 or something. I don't know what this is. I just press 1%. Yeah, we're entering a weird era of the game where I'm modding people for both simultaneously because I need enough protection that they won't get screwed by their ratio, but I need enough health because the protection might get ignored. And that's been a very weird new tightrope to walk. But it is happening on at least like 3 or 4 of my teams now.
Good to know. I see that you're, in addition to running Old Omega, you're also running Old Wrecker.
Yeah, so this Bad Batch squad is not full strength. It's just... Fuck, man. I'm not even that big on Balin on defense, but we are in a defense cron era, and my Balin already had 40% defense. And so at some point when I was just trying to like diversify pressure, I was just like, yeah, man, look, I'm just going to try this weird Bad Batch split. I've got Echo over on Amidala. I originally had Echo with Bad Batch on defense in week 2 with support cron. But I was like, okay, Echo doesn't need to be here for assist cron. We'll put him in Amidala and try that over there. And I did try Wrecker back in Balin with the defense cron because Wrecker was going to boost the defense cron on top, kind of like...
Sure, right. Yeah, his Soldier of Fortune thing, yeah.
And Balin did start getting holds once I put the Wrecker in. So
you did. All right, so yeah, thinking about the future, maybe rotating away from Zalbar. Zalbar was nice in the past. With, if your opponents are really liking Leia versus Rey, putting Zalbar in there with Rey really endangers their ability to protect Drogon. So nice thinking about this as a sub back in.
I think I had a Jabba fail once or twice. One of them was like a Jabba timeout, where Wrecker was last standing, and I'm assuming they should have just like Jabba ulted Wrecker first just to break the... I don't even know how much defense that... It might be bordering on like 800% defense to 1,000.
Look at this, against your high defense Balin with Hondo, with Mercenary Wrecker there. Yeah, Fugitive Omega took it down. With the crosshair. So, like, the point of this level 9 is that you get rid of Shaken quicker. So he's entering the fight quicker. And you saying, using original Omega in here is going to push more turn meter to him. So that means that that's kind of a feasible offensive counter going forward?
Bad Batch 2 are one of the best squads of the current raid. Bad Batch destroys Balin, Great Mothers, Amidala, like all of the current, what you would imagine to be high tier B teams. A proper Invest Bad Batch team absolutely walks over them. Nice. And like, frankly, I'm actually kind of thrilled that the current running narrative is that Bad Batch are god awful because the meta would be so much worse if people actually knew how good they were and just use them as a get out of jail free card. Yeah, no, you show me Bad Batch dog walking my insane defense Balin, and I'm like, yeah, that tracks. Like,
yeah, all right, fair.
But it's irrelevant since Bad Batch Cron is gone.
Well, but that's what I'm saying though, is that this team did this, and I'm saying that the effect of this level 9 is to have you get rid of Shaken faster. You're not gaining any extra turn meter to get that job done.
I think the Bad Batch team is great. I'm just calling out the notice of the Bad Batch Cron.
But what I'm
moving the Shaken faster.
Yeah, but this was the crit avoid. Sorry.
The Bad Batch Cron doesn't matter for their future premise.
That's what I'm saying.
So, yeah. Like, so specifically, we call it for the fight. Okay, so they have the 100% CA on 6. Like, that would maybe help Wreckers stay alive for longer, but like, the reality of the Bad Batch squad is that they could lose Wrecker, and they kind of don't care because you've got 4 people with locked stealth. Shin Hoodie is over there like, I'm going to stack my crit damage against you, and as long as you don't press the funny smoke button and start losing more characters, your whole squad's crit immune, your whole squad is regenerating per turn, even if it's an enemy turn, your whole squad regenerates 5% health and protection almost. Like, the Bad Batch... I think more than any other squad might actually just be insanely relic hungry. Not because they have to have it, but just because they use it so well. Right? Every relic level gives you bulk, gives you defense that you apply that blanket crit ability to. Like...
I should clarify. I agree with your statement, Fatal. I'm just saying that the Cron is gone. I have agreed with you the entire time when you've talked about the Bad Batch being a premier team. It was just an easy to set defensive tool because the Cron made them all that much harder. But offensively, and the mechanics of them put together are phenomenal for what they get to take out.
I mean, for what it's worth, I think a lot of it boils down to people just don't have mod or relic equity to put into them. And the people that do generally have everything else and don't feel the need to rely on such a tool. I think, like, even people like myself will admit the team is way better than I use it for. because I have not put the mod equity into the team.
I guess. I mean, so I guess the requirements for this team were all Relic 5, right? You can see with just as little as taking them up to Relic 7, this guy was able to 64 in just under 4 minutes against this 400% defense setup. Again, yes, with the now expired Bad Batch Cron, fine. But yes, I agree with Fatal. I think that given what we understand now about how the original Amiga works with this team and how it would feed turn meter, I feel like you're mostly replicating that effect.
And OG
the
Wrecker
future
is
looks
actually
good.
super thick still. Even in today's game, he's like freaking massive.
Mm-hmm.
And that record that I posted, despite, to your point, actually, that extra thickness can combo with the new Wrecker, and you can actually just double Wrecker stack, where you have the double bulk of old Wrecker and the new tank passive of new Wrecker.
I've said that a few times back when I was setting this team.
Mm-hmm.
If I wasn't posting Wrecker and Balin, which again, it did get defensive holds. Like you showed me this, sure, but like most people aren't running that, so I felt
Yeah.
comfortable
This is
trying it.
rare. Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, double Wrecker is a pretty funny thing to do to people right now. Like old Wrecker doesn't necessarily get the captive, but
Wrecker,
no,
Amiga Crosshair.
yeah, and both Wreckers have double hit basics. So if we're talking about the Terminator train of the Loop Cron, like they both contribute to that super willingly.
Nice. All right.
And this team actually is one of the better teams to function like offensively with the Terminator Cron too, because anything they get out in front of it's really silly.
All right, great highlights, Fatal. Appreciate that. Guys, we have made it to the end. It is takeaways and final thoughts time. I think I'll save mine for the end after the rest is. So let's kick it off with Dagger. What do you got to say? Your thoughts wrapping it all up. Last word for the people before we go.
Boo efficiency, but I gotta figure out how to do it myself better, and that's mostly because I'm lazy and I don't want to do it. I'm a huge advocate of a one-shot meta because I'm pretty good at doing that. But yeah, just man, it is what it is, man. What's the term? It's like or what is Tass say on here? You can talk shit about the efficiency players and the cheesers, but you can only do that if you beat them.
Yeah, big fan of that. A lot of people love to hate, and it's like, really, it's interesting that you hate on it and you lost, huh?
Yeah. So got just gonna plant my flag here on the. I'm probably not gonna have a great season next season because I ain't very good at this. But here's hoping.
You're gonna win or you're gonna learn, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I appreciate that. Thank you. For you, TJ, your takeaways, final thoughts, last word for the folks at home.
I'm gonna miss some of these crons that we're giving up, and I'm okay with that. The Dab Baba was a lot of fun. Sid was, the outs when we were getting to threes, but overall, it was a good season, man. I'm not disappointed at all. Seeing a fives that was generally well received and worked out well. But looking forward to seeing what we'll get to do when we have no armor pen, all the defense, and maybe a bit of crit avoidance. Come the next time we talk in fives.
Okay. Yeah. We'll definitely be talking in the 3 versus 3 preview episode about what our priorities were for Datacrons, not just for, the typical 369, but for which crons that we were looking just to stack certain stats on. Yeah, and I know Dagger and others have been excited to see the return of crit avoidance stack. That'll be a highlight we'll cover. So appreciate that, TJ. All right, Sasha Aisha, how about you, sir? Your takeaways, your final thoughts.
I'll go back to something that we circled around probably more than we needed to, but it's I think it'll actually have an impact in the coming meta, and that is the departure of armor pen from the meta. I think we are going to feel it at some point in time or in some way. Particularly at the higher end, where you've had people really concentrate a ton of roles on datacrons onto defense, that I suspect we might miss it. and that's my gut. I'll be curious to see if that's a bit of sentiment and a theme over the next month.
All right. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, we'll see what the future holds. All right. Fatal, how about you, sir? Your takeaways, your final thoughts.
Takeaways. I actually think it's pretty easy to mock cheese players, mostly just because they do it to themselves. Like I see people looking at a kit reveal and they're like, "Well, why should I care about this team? I already clear everything." And you're like, "Okay, start posting some teams on the defense." And they're like, "No, what if I need it on the offense?" I think that's kind of silly. I think people complaining that the meta is boring when they cheese is like kind of silly. Like the calls coming from inside the house. It's just fun to play on defense, man. That's all I'm gonna say. All it needs to be said. I don't know. You control your fate.
I hope in your near future you get a couple of these guys like what I've been fighting, because I'd love to see how you handle them. The thing is,
Are you
they
talking
don't
about the Phantoms Menace guys?
Yeah, the Phantoms Menace guys. Because if you look at their defense, when I say like they're saving enough to be clean, but they're still offering you maybe 2-3 teams that you can either drop or lose banners on, and then if that causes any kind of wrinkle at all, that'll cause you further banner loss. Whatever was going to be 64, 65 for you now might end up being 62, 63, and that can be all the difference against this kind of guy. Like, I wouldn't call what they're doing straight cheese. They're just ultra efficiency. They know just how much they think they need to set while still having everything to get just about 65 average.
I fought against them tons of times in the past. I don't know.
Looking forward to seeing it, man. I want to see you drub these guys because they've been giving the top bracket, myself included, a headache.
Well, it's a reflection of what's possible in the meta, right? Like I have made them drop battles in the past. I have had them like minus 0, like 65 batter. Everything I posted is just not always in my control.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I know, the past is the past. I want to see you get at him soon.
Yeah, Taz is going to need a consult from Uncle Fatal on this.
I mean, I'll be paying attention to see whatever's going to trip up these guys because they're serious. They're serious. It's, efficiency is extremely unforgiving to play, and they're really tight on that game. And man, that is a skill set that I haven't been tested on in this way in a bit of time. So, sorry, back to you, Fail. Sorry to hijack your moment there. Back to you.
Yeah, no, usually if I'm fighting those guys, I'm just like, I'll just take a loss for the season and go next. Like, if they want to play efficiency that hard, I'm not really interested in following suit. They can have the win. Yeah, they're surgical clinical. Regarding the armor pen thing, I would broadly agree, but the only problem is that CG is, for whatever fucking reason, they just hate armor pen lately. Like, we went through a period where characters were getting up to like 500. Like, I think Dark Trooper and like Ray and SLK were kind of like that. I think SLK also just has like 65% latent armor ignore in his kit. He's like the only character in the game who does that. Lately, we've had like, well, quote unquote, lately, Jedi Cal is like the horror show example of like, I have seen more than a handful of players give Jedi Cal an armor pen cron. I want y'all to take a guess. How much armor pen do you think Jedi Cal has?
I think somebody mentioned here on the stream earlier it was 100.
It's less than 100. Isn't it like 65 or something?
So Bane has 345. He's a strength attacker, so he's pretty high. And then like the average is, let's say, around 180.
Yeah, now I'll let Fatal say it. But
so take a guess. Just keep guessing. How much armor pen do you think Jedi Cal has?
Like I said 100, so I guess that's wrong. 65 then.
Cold.
20.
Very warm.
Jeez.
Oh no.
Terrible. What is it?
So
yeah,
13.
13.
How much Fatal?
13. There's a 1 and then there's a 3.
Okay.
yeah,
So if you do have a 400%, you can ramp them up to 68, and then yeah.
I saw people who would give him 400% armor pen crons, and I'm like, buddy.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that cackle reaching 13, just like, oh.
But yeah, the one thing I would try to instill people on that topic is try to be more cognizant of the character's base armor pen, and that will really kind of
Yes.
help inform you
For sure.
on whether or not it's worthwhile. And then,
You have
that,
some reprieve on that since we don't have armor penetration on Krons except for focused ones for the next bit of the future. But good thing to keep in mind when next they come around. I appreciate the reminder. Anything else you had? Yeah, please.
Yeah, no, it was an enjoyable season overall. Just kind of, I don't mind losing on time in an individual match, but it just happened enough lately that I was like, all right, let's clean this shit up a bit because I do think this would have been a fun season to be higher rank in. But also, I was looking at my defense, and almost none of it is expired. So if I could just continue to win a bunch and keep climbing, maybe we'll get to face some proper tests. So we'll see.
Dig it. Looking forward to it. All right, and as the only other content creator on our show, where can the good folks find you? Are you going to be doing any streaming in the off week? So on and so forth.
Twitch.tv/PlaybookTV, YouTube.com/the Playbook. I will be streaming some Battlefield 6 when the beta starts for sure. We'll be doing the kit reveal for Brutus here shortly. Yeah, no, there's plenty of stuff to do in the off week. I think stuff I need to do behind the scenes in the meantime, but yeah, I'll try to be live when I can.
Dig that. Yeah, folks, check him out. Go see Fatal, not only here during the off week, but of course, to get right back into this next 3v3 season. For my part, closing out the season, yeah, I had a great time. My general strategy, really loving scouting and liking to spend that time researching opponents, trying to read their tendencies and play that against pretty much everybody but like Herbert, that Phantom Menace guy. I felt really rewarded this season. My play style felt really rewarded. Obviously, great performance and everything, but I had a fun time doing what I like to do, and to finish out the way it did was just fantastic. And I'm well set up for the next season. Perhaps, more of these outcomes could be in the future. It's always going to be hard, and I like that. It's a blessing the last couple seasons being spared Erodiums and having real matches because, it's not often, but there are folks out there who will say, oh, Tass, must be nice to be up in the top 50, top 20, top 10 when you're still getting 1-2 Erodiums a week. I'm like, I'm not trying to say that they're not there. I've always admitted that. But yes, having results against all real opponents a couple seasons a row feels great. Again, doing what I like doing. So just good times. That's it for the feelings on the season. As far as takeaways, yeah. Anything that you were relying on armor penetration, look to optimize if you have any resources left for set 22. Pick up offense in set 22. Otherwise, you're looking at crit damage here in the new set 23. Farm, and try and patch up the holes so that you've got enough to cover if you're in Kyber 1, 30 teams, 15 defense, 15 offense. 30 teams worth of Datacrons. Don't let yourself get caught flat-footed. It's one of the biggest ways to hamper your success in that first week of 3v3 on a new Datacron set. So good luck to all of you in your efforts there. Wrapping up, thanks to all of my co-hosts here for being with me on the show today. Great episode, had a lot of fun. If you want to catch me live, I will be trying to do a couple streams here during the off week myself. You'll see me at twitch.tv/Tassinix. I also simulcast on my YouTube channel, Tassinix Gaming, where, in addition to being a site where you can catch plotting and scheming, has a whole bunch of other Swugger-related content you may be interested in. Stuff like my GAC Omicron tier list videos, the how-to mod guide series, starting from fundamentals, going on up from there. The mod guide series on individual characters and factions that you guys have asked about, and a whole bunch of other stuff over there. Check it out. Anything that you like on the channel, please do hit the like button. Really appreciate that. Hit subscribe if you want to see more. You guys are pushing the channel up and up here in just under a month. It's another plus 100 subscribers. So thank you guys for your continued interest and support. It means a lot. And yeah, if, let's see, the Plotting and Scheming is native to Spotify, but wherever you find an episode, check the description. There is a link that you can use to plug into your preferred podcast program and follow us there. Aside from all that, if you want to go above and beyond to support the channel, there are a few ways to do so. First, I have a Cash App, that is $Tassinix. I have a PayPal, that is tassinix@gmail.com. And of course, if you want to get some enhanced power for your own scouting game, early access to some of my content, and a couple other fringe benefits besides, you may be interested in checking out my Patreon, patreon.com/Tassinix. For any upwardly mobile Grand Arena player, there is something there of interest for you. At $5 a month, you enter the Tass House at VIP access level, where you get early access to the Plotting and Scheming show. This is coming out to our general audience Friday mornings, 8 a.m., but patrons get it as early as Tuesday night, within hours of us recording, giving you that early edge on the first round of the week. In addition, you'll also get early access to the odd exclusive that I will make for patrons. For example, we had the how to use hot utils to automate your roster. That was exclusive for a couple months to patrons, so things like that will from time to time come out. And of course, there is a dedicated text and voice chat on Discord where I am generally lurking, so pop on in and say hi. Thank you so much to Andrew, Banja, Boba Iza, Deadpool Cow 28, JJ's Dad, JJ's Productions Twitch, Jobin4527, Miasmo, Mus Ross, Rays Malvis, Sam Vimes, Sheepdog 47, Squed, Stark Strategy Gamer, Sweens 14, and White Wolf. Moving on up to the $10 a month tier is VIP Access Plus, where you get a bundled Patreon access to me and to your choice of either OmegaBot or Hot Utils Patreon. OmegaBot's that tool I highlight at the start of all my streams, where you get those graphs giving you an easily understood sense of what your opponent is about, offensively and defensively. The biggest feature of this tool is how it saves you time. Anybody can use it to scout their opponent's last week of history, but only patrons can build out a custom report with any number of weeks. You get a downloadable HTML version of the report with links that you can click, taking you right back into Swugga.gg or Insight, whichever you're using, just helping you further minimize your scout. Or you might go for the Hot Utils Patreon, aka Chili subscription, which is the #1 tool for your mass mod management and loadout creation. Nothing else lets you switch so easily between your Grand Arena, TB, TW, and Raid mods. You can use it like TJ and Fatal do to completely automate and remod your roster. You can slice through hundreds of mods in seconds, help your guild out in TW, whole bunch of great stuff baked into it. No wrong way to go at VIP Access Plus. Thank you so much to Aussie Mike, Darth Salea, Esh Satnikam, Meow for Me, Mr. Tony, Shake23501, Single Malt Jedi, Snack Attack, Striker, Supermard, and Troublefingers. At VIP Access Premium, that's $15 a month for the Double Bot Bundle. So Patreon access for me, OmegaBot, and Hot Utils, all in one subscription. Going out and buying those two bots separately costs the same, which is why so many of my patrons say this is one of the best value bundles in all of Swugga. Thank you so much to Argots, Arj, Bjorn, Big Ninja, Duckstab, Darth Link, Frickfrack Paddywhack, General Milan, Ibanek, Johnny B. Ottawa, Kev, Mini GK, Pills, Ploon, Quig, Rawling, Saldag, Sir Boss, Sophis, The Lost Womp Rat, Trevor Boy Gaming, Wilco, and Zoltre. And of course, for our special thanks, first we got the Jesters Club Elite. You know that it's always Nomad's Reaper, who does still pop into streams from time to time and drop a ton of subs and biddies on me. He is, he only did it just a couple weeks ago, so he's still out there. He's not to be forgotten. So appreciate that support so much, man. And of course, in the special thanks, first up to the Lost Womp Rat, one of my patrons who, helped me optimize my OBS setup, and then more recently got my Stream Deck up and running for me. Nice, helped me out with a couple integrations with some other bots, just making life smooth. So thank you so much for that help, man. To Mrs. T, my wife, thank you for all you do in the background, whether it's bringing me drinks or food, discreetly on stream, or just keeping our daughter from tearing the place apart while I'm distracted trying to be the very best, like no one ever was, at a phone game. And of course, to Dagger, TJ, Sasha Aisha, and Fatal, my co-hosts on Plotting and Scheming. As always, gentlemen, thank you for making yourselves available on a weekly basis to talk about, our passion projects here in Grand Arena. I learn from you guys every episode. Hopefully the feeling is occasionally mutual, but it's not about us. It is about our viewership, our listener base. They love the show. They love our discussions. I get feedback every week, thanking us for what they learned from the show. You guys bring so much to the discussion. So here we are 2+ years in. I wouldn't change a thing. Thank you, guys. And that wraps up the season, folks. You have survived season 69. Nice. Now, we'll be back next week for the preview episode going into season 70. We do have a special guest. I usually like to keep it a surprise, a secret, but he is a guest who's been here with us before a couple times. It's been a little while, and it's always a pleasure. We will have Arsenal 416 in the saddle with us up next week. So look forward to that. Thank you for being here with us. And until next time, it's been real. It's been awesome. It's been real awesome. Take care.